And the second part of my conversation with Gary Lightbody from Snow Patrol as the band get ready for a massive headline gig at the Castlefield Bowl on Sunday. And as part of this interview, you'll hear how they feel about playing live again. But I wanted to talk to Gary about the great Irish musical heritage that he comes from. How aware of you are of that rock and roll heritage from where you come from?
Oh, very, very aware of it. I've always made myself aware of it. I've always made, as far as I'm concerned, the Undertones Teenage Kicks is the best, as John Peel said, it's the best 2 minutes and 30 minutes of his life. He's quoted as saying that. And I would include it in certainly the best 2 minutes, 30 seconds of my life as well. It's a slice of genius, a slice of heaven. It's Van Morrison's music and all the bands that were happening as we were teenagers. Ash, who were teenagers at the time themselves, and the Divine Comedy and Therapy, and there's so many great bands from Northern Ireland when we were coming up, and now there's an even bigger, more splendid scene there now than there ever was. It seems like there's just so many extraordinary artists and acts.
You're doing the Castlefield Bowl in September. What's it been like for you when all your life, for decades, you've been a performer? And that means you stand in front of audiences, and when you were younger, there might have only been 20 people there, but that's what you do. And suddenly, nearly 2 years ago, somebody said to you, well, sorry, Gary, mate, you're going to have to stop doing this for a couple of years.
It's heartbreaking for everybody, but much more heartbreaking to watch for all the young artists and all the artists that were struggling even before the pandemic hit. So many bands that were just sort of keeping it together and by the skin of their teeth. And we knew, we've already spoken about those first 10 years. We know what that feels like, it's absolutely tragic to see music and everything else, of course, everything ground to a halt. But music is food for the soul, and when that grinds to a halt, there's an awful big gap in our in our joy, in our reason to live. It's amazing to see festivals and gigs that are sort of coming back and happening again, because we need some joy in our lives.
Have you done a gig yet?
I did a small gig in a friend's back garden to prepare for the gigs that are coming up in September. I didn't play Chasing Cars, so there you go. And it was really, really brilliant to play again. But we're in rehearsals at the moment and getting ready for the gigs that are coming up, including obviously the gig in Castlefield on the 26th of September with the fantastic Lathams and Lucy Blue on the bill as well. So it's great. It's a great lineup.
Lathams are a great band from Wigan, the home of rock and roll. When I listen to Run, you listen to band songs, there's something about that, the story that tells. It's about you when you were a little bit more Larry, really. Tell us about that.
Well, it was certainly written when I was more Larry, that's for sure. When I was I haven't had a drink in 5 years now. So those we were still kind of living as the sort of student life where you're, there's only one ring on the cooker that works and the shower's held on by gaffer tape and all that sort of stuff. So it was sort of imagining a life for me and my family and my friends and obviously the bandmates and people close to me, imagining a better life, kind of trying to manifest that life into being. Ironically, or perhaps not ironically, the song turned out to do just that, but it certainly was not something that was on our minds when we were writing it. When I was writing the lyrics, I wasn't thinking, well, this is going to be a big hit. In fact, the song was 6 minutes in the original version, in the original form, and it was actually played. Joe Wiley on the BBC played it. It was a full 6 minute version on Radio 1. She took a punt on it. Bless her for doing it, and people liked it. We did a radio mix of it, and that's what made it into a single. So we weren't even thinking of it as a single at the time,